Okay. Bueno, según YouTube estamos en vivo, según esta emisión está en directo, así que podemos proceder a presentar esta emisión especial que estamos haciendo en nuestro canal de YouTube, el Motorbox Radio. Bueno, yo soy Esteban García, como ustedes se podrán imaginar, no estamos con Leandro Mazzucchelli, pero sí tenemos una gran compañía para esta tarde de lunes en Buenos Aires, en ya noche en Europa, porque vamos a charlar del automovilismo japonés. Y para eso vamos a presentar ahora mismo a nuestros dos invitados como corresponde. El primero de ellos es Alex García. ¿Cómo estás, Alex? Buenas noches para vos.
Hola, ¿qué tal? Buenas tardes en Argentina y buenas noches en España. Y nada, pues bien, aquí estamos, encerrados en casa. Muy importante, chicos, todos en casa. Ya sé que os lo han dicho hasta el aburrimiento, pero hay que aguantar ahora, hay que portarse bien. Y cuando toque salir, no hay preocupación, que carreras no nos van a faltar.
Por supuesto, y más del automovilismo japonés que personalmente me gusta mucho desde que lo descubrí el año pasado, ¿sí? Gracias a Sacha Pretas, vamos a estar hablando de Sacha en esta emisión. Ahora vamos a tener a Jens, a Geinou, y lo voy a presentar en inglés. No te preocupes si sos de habla hispanoparlante, porque vamos a tener para vos también la charla con Alex y también con Jens. Así que vamos a presentar a Jens. Hello, Geinou, thank you very much for joining us in this very, very special live streaming on Motorbox YouTube channel. How are you?
Hello, thank you for having me. Yeah, I'm doing fine, despite the current circumstances around the world and here, but I'm doing fine. Thank you for having me.
Okay, Geinou, how is your feeling about today? We know about SuperGT has postponed round 2, the 500 kilometers at Fuji, and third round at Suzuka because of the coronavirus ongoing. How is the information in Japan about the virus and the spread has known last week?
Well, I think it was inevitable that they have to postpone this because, as you know, like in Japan, the numbers were, well, initially they were a bit high, but then things went a bit lower, and everyone was like, maybe just Japan was able to contain the virus, but there was still this feeling that it could break out every day, and then things could get worse. And unfortunately, things got a little bit worse with the Tokyo authorities and some of the neighboring prefectures, last weekend requesting people to stay at home, which asked people to stay at home. Which led to the second official preseason test at Fuji to get postponed. So, and I think that was like the nail in the coffin that pretty much told me that they will have to postpone both rounds in May, as you said, like Fuji 500 kilometers during Golden Week, and the Suzuka 300 kilometers. And of course, people are disappointed, but understanding postponed. Because everyone knows that it's a tough situation, and we know from people working in the paddock that even during testing it felt a bit uncomfortable, knowing that in the current situation, being out there and doing motorsport and working, as important as the tests are, that it didn't feel quite right doing it.
Ok, ¿qué nos puede decir? Bueno, a Geinou le preguntamos por las dos postergaciones de las carreras de SuperGT que estaban previstas en mayo, y como decía Jens, que era una cosa bastante lógica porque el brote de coronavirus está comenzando a crecer en Japón y decidieron tomar las precauciones correspondientes para poder obviamente tener a disposición también que no se sobrepase el sistema de salud, que es un poco lo que está pasando en Europa y el miedo que hay también en Argentina por ese lado. Alex, este año es muy especial para vos porque vas a trabajar, además de todo tu conocimiento y expertise del automovilismo japonés, con Juju Noda. Hay mucha gente que puede no saber en Argentina quién es Juju. Contanos quién es este piloto que, bueno, tiene previsto competir en la Fórmula 4 de Dinamarca, siempre y cuando toda esta situación internacional lo permita en algún momento, ¿no?
Sí, habrá que ver cómo evoluciona la situación porque evidentemente en Europa no es fácil. Es verdad que en Dinamarca está la situación un poquito mejor, un poquito, pero claro, que esté en la situación mejor no significa que luego no pueda complicarse. Todos esperamos que no lo haga, pero también es verdad que en un momento dado en el que Italia estaba muy mal y España ya empezaba a complicarse, por ejemplo, en Estados Unidos aún no había prácticamente casos y poco a poco se ha complicado muchísimo en las últimas, yo te diría incluso los últimos 5, 6, 7 días. Por lo tanto, yo creo que lo prudente es no confiarse. Creo que han hecho bien en Dinamarca en cerrar prácticamente todo. Lo que pasa es que, bueno, es como todo. Es muy difícil sacar la bola de cristal y saber un poco lo que va a pasar. Sobre nuestro caso, sobre mi caso en esto, ¿no? Pues yo no da para quien no esté un poco al corriente, porque al final Fórmula 4 es verdad que a veces parece que estemos todos muy pendientes, pero bueno, no hay que olvidar que es categoría de entrada, ¿no? De automovilismo en los monoplazas. Pues ella es la hija de Hideki Noda, un piloto de Fórmula 1 de los años 90, también estuvo pues en Le Mans, estuvo en la IndyCar, estuvo en la Fórmula Nippon, en el All Japan GT, también en el SuperGT, incluso pues después de retirarse como piloto, por ejemplo, estuvo dirigiendo el equipo SART cuando hace relativamente poco, en 2016, fueron campeones del GT500 con Heikki Kovalainen y con Kohei Hirate. Por lo tanto, es un piloto, un personaje, digamos, del automovilismo japonés que sabe lo que es estar a los dos lados del box, del pit lane, y sabe lo que es competir. Entonces, bueno, pues todo empezó un poco con un proyecto para su hija, que desde los 9 años que está subida a un F4, desde los 11 a un F3, y por lo tanto, bueno, es una chica que tiene mucha experiencia con los monoplazas, no tanto con los circuitos, porque es verdad que allí en Japón, por un tema de normativas, pues apenas ha podido rodar en Okayama, y en alguna ocasión muy concreta en Suzuka, y por lo tanto, bueno, pues ahora con 14 años, pudiendo competir ya en Europa, que no en Japón, porque en Japón no se puede hasta los 16 años, pues se tomó esa decisión de venir ya a empezar esa aventura, porque al final para mí esto no deja de ser una gran aventura, y vamos a buscar pues ese aprendizaje primero, sin duda, y luego pues a ver qué resultados se pueden obtener esta temporada, pues para arrancar esa carrera deportiva, ¿no? Y lo de la aventura, pues bueno, me gusta usar esa palabra porque imaginémonos, ¿no? Todos los que tenemos ya una edad un poquito más avanzada en este sentido, pero imaginemos lo que puede ser para un niño o una niña de 14 años, o 13 cuando vino en Europa, ya cuando pues tomó ese avión desde Japón para Europa, lo que puede ser en esas edades viajar para meterse en el mundo de las carreras. Es una auténtica, de verdad, lo repito, pero es una auténtica aventura la que va a vivir Yuyu este año. Y sin duda pues una gran alegría, un gran honor poder formar parte de ello, ¿no? Es un poco el otro lado del automovilismo japonés, que es el Japón que viaja a Europa.
Y también se está dando que hay pilotos internacionales que están viajando de Europa hacia Japón, como es el caso, por ejemplo, de Sacha Fenestras. Vamos a arrancar con él, que bueno, ahora está mucho con simuladores, así que bueno, tratamos de conseguir un audio, pero bueno, no fue posible para esta emisión especial. ¿Y qué te parece al respecto de esto, la experiencia de Sacha desde la Fórmula 3 europea, que fue donde terminó con su campaña en Europa hasta ahora, y se mudó a Japón, y bueno, está teniendo un gran éxito, tanto que prácticamente es un piloto muy querido por todos los fans allí en Japón, tanto que ya empezó a ser seguido por fans japoneses, ¿no?
Sí, yo creo que al final, que por cierto, antes de seguir, lo comentábamos antes de arrancar, sí que quería mencionar, sé que James lo va a mencionar también luego, pero mencionar un poco un comentario rápido para RJ O'Connell, sí, que no pudo estar a estos horarios, que nos habría encantado que hubiera estado aquí, porque es evidentemente una de las grandes autoridades de automovilismo nipón. Y bueno, en cualquier caso, seguro que habrá oportunidades, no me cabe ninguna duda. Y no tengo ninguna duda tampoco de que cuando los oyentes puedan disfrutar de sus comentarios, pues van a aprender muchísimo más también. Y bueno, con ganas, espero, Esteban, te lanzo el desafío así en abierto, espero que la próxima vez cuando pueda estar él, podamos reunirnos otra vez los que estamos hoy aquí y poder tener una charla que va a ser seguro muy buena.
Es el objetivo, era el objetivo de esta emisión de hoy. Seguramente estoy ya pensando alguna idea para lo que iba a ser la primera fecha del año ahí en en Okayama y discutir un poco sobre más en profundidad sobre los circuitos, dónde corren y demás. Geinou, Alex spoke about RJ O'Connell. I was invited him to this live show, but he couldn't stay with us. He had some nice words. I think it's the number one in Super GT, Super Formula, and all Japanese motorsport. So I want a word for him from you.
Oh yeah, massive shout outs to RJ of Super GT World and Daily Sports Car fame. What he's doing is incredible. Like many of us, like working a day job and also having this in-depth reporting about Japanese motorsport, not just Super GT, but also Super Formula and especially Super Taikyu, which I think is a series that deserves much more recognition, and I wish I could do more for them, but you know, my time is a bit limited as well. Like I'm pretty much like with my job, I'm like on the road, not on the road, but like with commuting and everything, it's like 13 to 14 hours. I'm away next to my working time and my working hours. Sorry. So. But RJ is doing a massive job, and it's a shame he couldn't make it, unfortunately. But hopefully next time we can do this all together with him. And if you haven't checked it out yet, because like during this time with the whole coronavirus, where everyone tries to have like some fun reading material for the people, and he wrote 2 very great retrospectives about the Calsonic sponsor. And you haven't checked it out yet, because throughout motorsport history, not just Super GT, and also Zend, the pachinko company with Toyota, which is like not just in Super GT, but also in the World Endurance Championship, having this partnership. And this is a great view at the cars that raced over the years and what kind of results they had. So if you haven't seen those on Daily Sports Car, highly recommend checking them out. And I know that he has cooked up something very special soon, and I think this will be very exciting for everyone to read. Another great historic article. That's all I can say at this point. Yeah, but massive shout outs to RJ.
Lo que decía Jens es un poco lo que pienso yo, que él es el número 1 en lo que tiene que ver a automovilismo japonés, y bueno, la idea era reunirnos los 4, yo como Motorbox, Alex como especialista y referencia, más que y especialista de automovilismo japonés en español, y por supuesto nuestros queridos colegas de habla inglesa, Geinou y RJ con él, que bueno, son quienes informan permanentemente del automovilismo japonés, y él decía, bueno, también un artículo que está preparando Rory para los próximos días, así que bueno, seguramente va a salir en Daily Sports Car, así que también, de hecho, mucha información que él publica, nosotros podemos replicarla en español, y es un poco la idea. Te preguntaba, Alex, por si querés explayarte ahora sí, sobre el movimiento de Sacha Fenestras desde Europa hacia Japón. Un movimiento del que, por ejemplo, Facu Regalia dijo, yo tendría que haber hecho lo mismo que hizo Sacha, independientemente del éxito o no. Facu tal vez, no digo se repitió, pero sí que tal vez no la vio en su momento, porque estaba muy obsesionado con llegar a la Fórmula 1, no llegó, y hoy tiene su propio programa de coaching de pilotos. Pero en este caso parece que Sacha logró ver una beta que ningún otro piloto argentino hasta ahora contemporáneamente lo había podido observar. Vamos a hacer la traducción también para Geinou. Jens, I spoke to Alex about his opinion about the movement of Sacha Fenestra to Europe, from Europe to Japan last year, and of course Alex will speak first and you after. What is your opinion about that, and if both, if you think that Sacha could make a successful career in Japan? Alex.
Sí, yo creo que al final me recuerda un poco, salvando las diferencias que las hay, un poco como el caso de Nick Cassidy cuando estuvo en Europa, una carrera que no parecía que fuera a florecer en Europa, y en el caso de Cassidy sí que es verdad que su situación mejoró mucho gracias a ese espléndido Gran Premio de Macao que hizo con T-Sport. el caso de Sacha Fenestad también me recuerda un poco al de Nick Casey en el sentido de que estuvo en la Fórmula 3 europea y los resultados no fueron quizás los que algunos esperaban. Dicho lo cual, fue una verdadera pena que Renault no siguiera con el apoyo. Creo que fue además una decisión bastante injusta, porque el año de Sacha fue un año en el que Carlin sin duda no estaba con el rendimiento que se esperaba, no era el rendimiento del coche de Lando Norris, que había tenido para ganar, y por lo tanto, pues a ver, al final es evidente que en cualquier de estos campeonatos, para ganar necesitas una máquina que te lo permita. Sabemos que la Fórmula 3 es monomarca, pero a la vez no lo es del todo. Para todos aquellos que no siguen la Fórmula 3 tan de cerca, pues por ejemplo es muy habitual que los equipos, con la excusa de que llevan motores distintos y que necesitan piezas de refrigeración distintas, suelen crear partes traseras con distintas aerodinámicas, ¿no? Al final los equipos lo justifican diciendo, no, esto es para que refrigere mejor, para que el motor rinda mejor en estas condiciones, porque si no vamos a tener problemas de temperatura, pero siempre hay ese pequeñito punto de rendimiento que da por aero, es inevitable. Entonces sí que es verdad que, por ejemplo, Prema estuvo mucho más en forma esos años, Carlin no estuvo como tendría que haber estado, cuando el coche funcionó, Sacha estuvo arriba, y por lo tanto, pues bueno, fue una cuestión de encontrar un sitio en el que pudiera aprovechar su talento, ¿no? Lo que le pasó a Sacha también, por otra parte, si tuvo esa mala suerte por un lado, también es cierto que tuvo la buena fortuna, ya que mencionabas a Facu, de que quizás en el momento en el que Facu estaba por Europa, irse a Japón no era un camino tan evidente y quizás no necesariamente tan exitoso. Recordamos que la Fórmula 3 japonesa había llegado a tener temporadas con 6 y 7 coches de la categoría principal. Recordamos, por ejemplo, a todos los que nos escuchan, que seguro que siguieron la temporada del año pasado de Sacha, pues que la mayoría de carreras estábamos sobre los 14, 15, por tanto, estamos con el doble de coches de los que habíamos tenido en algunas temporadas, unas temporadas en las que se había tenido que rellenar la parrilla con coches de generación anterior. Teníamos los F306, recordamos que compitieron hasta 2017, coches, por tanto, con 11 años de vida, que aún siguen compitiendo solo para mantener esas parrillas con un número saludable, ¿no? Entonces yo creo que Sacha lo que tuvo es esa fortuna, ese acierto de poder ir a un campeonato que estaba en el momento dulce, en el momento en el que podía entrar y sacar un provecho de ahí. Yo sé que la gente con la que trabaja de management, sé que tienen buenos contactos en Japón y que en parte pues eso también hay.
Alex.
Y si verán, sí, ¿me escucha Esteban?
Sí, parece que se cortó un poquito, no sé si se cortó la transmisión mía o en general, digamos, pero sí.
Sí, no, creo que fue mi micrófono. No, bueno, en fin, solo contar eso, que la historia de Sacha al final se cuenta solo el año pasado, ¿no? Acabó en el equipo Pimax, que es uno de los equipos más potentes del certamen, y allí pues pudo sacar ese provecho que necesitaba para relanzar su carrera. Y lo demás, pues todos lo sabemos. Interés de más de una marca, porque lo hubo. Otra cosa, no sé hasta qué punto Sacha querrá contar que hubo contactos con más de una marca, pero sí que hubo más de una marca interesada en tenerle compitiendo este 2020. Y al final, bueno, pues la mejor opción fue la de Toyota, que le ofrecía ese volante en Condor Racing, en Super Fórmula, y ese fabuloso, ¿no? Ese mítico 36, ese Toms en el SuperGT. Yo creo que para mí, y lo voy cerrando para que pueda seguir Jens, porque no quiero tampoco quedarme con demasiado tiempo. Yo es que me es fácil empezar a hablar y al final nos vamos largos, ¿no? Para mí lo bueno que tiene lo de Sacha este año es que puede combinar el hecho de estar con una marca como es Toyota, con un apoyo oficial, a la vez que sigue compitiendo con el equipo en el que estuvo el año pasado, en este caso en Super Fórmula. Por lo tanto, sí es verdad que va a estar con Toms en Super GT, pero va a tener esa posibilidad de seguir con un equipo que ya le conoce, que ya sabe lo que necesita en la Super Fórmula, como es Condor Racing. Además, sigo pensando aún, habrá que verlo este año, sigo pensando que quizás Sacha es más piloto de monoplazas que de GTs. Siendo como es un muy buen piloto, un excelente piloto de GTs, creo que aún saca más provecho en monoplazas. Por tanto, pues me da una especial curiosidad ver qué puede hacer Sacha con ese número 4, con ese Dallara de Condor Racing, porque si algo vimos el año pasado es que un debutante que se adapte bien puede ser muy y muy competitivo.
Geinou, your opinion about Sasha Fenestra and his successful year in 2019 after a movement from Europe?
Yeah, he had quite the impact in Japan, didn't he? Last year. I mean, it's never a great feeling when you basically get booted from a program and then have to find alternatives. But I think he made a great decision coming to Japan and racing not just in Formula 3 but also in GT300 of Super GT. And hey, he became the last All Japan Formula 3 champion because this year the championship is now known as Super Formula Lights, and he won 8 races there. And in GT300 he joined a new team, well, quote-unquote new team. I mean, it was Condor Racing, but obviously the people working there, they were already familiar with the operation in Super Taikyu, but they switched from Super Taikyu to Super GT and GT300. And he had an immediate impact, both his presence on and off the track, and he fought for the championship, got a bit unlucky near the end, but he fought for the championship in Super GT as well, and that pretty much made like the Toyota representatives go, oh hey, look at this fella, we want him before maybe Nissan gets him, because Condor Racing is heavily associated with Nissan, obviously. In GT300 they're using a GTR GT3. So Toyota pretty much grabbed him and will now put him into the 36 car from Tom's Racing, which is like one of their flagship teams in Super GT. And I think is like almost from 0 to 100 for him. And I'm very, very impressed with what he achieved in 2019, and his dream story in Japan seems to continue this year, because not just Super GT, I mean, Alex probably just mentioned it, my Spanish is not very good, I'm sorry, but also in Super Formula, where he will stay with Condor Racing and pretty much go to the team that Nick Cassidy and Kenta Yamashita helped to shape in the last year before Nick then switched to Tom's and won the championship last year. And he was very strong at the Fuji preseason test, being one of the strongest rookies immediately in his, second time in the car. He took part in the winter test last year, but this was his first time in the car this year. So he immediately impressed, and once the season hopefully gets going soon, I'm pretty sure we're going to see a very strong Sasha Fenestras. Probably has to learn a couple of things in GT500, because like GT300 is one thing, but managing the traffic in GT500 is one of the key things you have to learn. This is something, I don't want to say every young driver is struggling, but this is something you just have to get used to. You need to know when you can be aggressive, you can throw races away in the traffic, you can win races in the traffic. So managing the traffic will be a key factor, and I think it's a great learning tool as well. It was Andre Lotterer, by the way, who once said that in Super GT he learned how to manage traffic, and that helped him a lot, being strong in Le Mans, for example.
Ok, lo que decía Jens es un poco que bueno, que sí, que Sacha eventualmente va a tener un éxito ahí, que bueno, se adaptó muy bien y que ya de entrada, digamos, logró conectarse un poco con el automovilismo japonés. Tengo la opinión de alguien que sigue a Sacha hace mucho tiempo, la voy a leer, también la voy a leer traducida al inglés para Geinou. Vamos a ver con los dos comentarios separados. Dice Jorge Magistris, imagino que Alex charlamos una vez el año pasado, el conductor de Corazón de Funo, que deberíamos estar al aire, pero bueno, coronavirus y el impedimento también de ir a la radio, por supuesto, estas próximas semanas también. Amigos, buenas tardes. El campeonato de Fórmula T lo define Sacha en pista y Motopark en los escritorios con la homologación de distintas piezas que penalizaron a un equipo Toms que hacía lo que quería antes. ¿Qué opina Alex al respecto?
Es un tema delicado. No me gusta meterme mucho. Además, yo sé que tal y como voy a decir esto, pues seguro que va a haber alguien que no le va a gustar. Pero me consta que tanto en Toms como en VMAX se hacían un poco estas cosas. Un poco esto era la consecuencia de un campeonato de Fórmula 3 japonesa que competía un poco con el clásico honor de no vamos a aprovecharnos de la normativa. No se seguía al dedillo, no se seguía al detalle esa normativa de la FIA F3 europea, que era lo que había que hacerse, también hay que decirlo. Y que tanto un equipo como el otro pues tenían esas piezas, sobre todo endplates, piezas menos importantes que fabricaban ellos por una cuestión, pues a veces casi de comodidad más que de rendimiento. Lo que sucedió, evidentemente, es que el año pasado entró Motopark con VMAX y Motopark trajo ese elemento de profesionalidad, de profesionalismo, que acabó sacudiendo el campeonato, acabó llevando esa exigencia a un nuevo nivel. ¿Qué pasó? Pues que Motopark supieron ver ese hueco, ese punto en el que se podía buscar agarrar a los rivales, que en Toms pues quizás no tuvieron esa habilidad, ¿no? Sé que en VMAX también hubo algunos puntos parecidos. Evidentemente, pues ellos fueron más listos, los eliminaron antes que nadie, y como se suele hacer en este caso en el automovilismo, pues si vas a acusar de algo a tu rival, asegúrate primero que no estás tú cayendo en la misma trampa, ¿no? Uh-huh. En ese sentido, a mí me sabe mal, porque creo que habría sido bonito que el último campeonato de la Fórmula 3 japonesa, lo decía antes Jens, que este año son la Super Fórmula Light, pues que el último campeonato hubiera sido resuelto, digamos, de forma, no voy a decir limpia, pero de forma más transparente, más competitiva en pista en lugar de los despachos. Además, con la gran temporada que había hecho Sacha Fenestras, lo normal habría sido que se llevara el campeonato de todas formas, pero poder decidirlo en la última ronda con un poco más de emoción, con un poco más de picante, pues creo que era bueno para el campeonato, ¿no? Al final no hay que negar que hubo 2 carreras en las que se descalificó a Ritomo Miyata con, quizás yo creo, con menos, vamos a llamarle menos justicia, que no es así, porque al final si la normativa dice una cosa y tú no cumples, pues tienes que pasar sanción, pero sí es cierto que el propio campeonato reconocía que hubo 2 carreras en las que ellos eran conscientes de que esas piezas no tenían una incidencia en el rendimiento, era más una cuestión pues de normativa, que había que cumplirla. Había que hacerlo, es bueno, el campeonato ha crecido en ese sentido y está bien, pero como digo, la Fórmula 3 es un mundo muy, muy particular, lo es en general, lo era aún más en Japón, y yo creo que es una pena que el año de Sacha hasta cierto punto tuviera esa pequeña manchita de que hubiera un tema polémico detrás, ¿no? Por otra parte, yo creo que lo hizo muy bien. Hizo una temporada fantástica. Me acuerdo que le hablábamos a principio del año pasado con todos ustedes y yo les decía, creo que Sacha, su posición tiene que ser subcampeón, porque no imaginaba que fuera a adaptarse tan rápido y la verdad es que me sorprendió muy positivamente y ahora, bueno, pues el camino obviamente tiene que ser el de seguir creciendo, pero las exigencias ya son otras. Ya hemos visto de qué es capaz Sacha, somos conscientes de su talento aún más que nunca, y por lo tanto ahora todo el mundo está esperando que esté peleando desde el primer día. Como decía, somos conscientes de su talento. El tráfico, sin duda, va a ser el gran desafío de esa temporada en GTs, y creo que va a ser casi lo único que le va a impedir estar arriba, si es que se lo impide, que puede que no, porque es perfectamente plausible que se adapte desde el primer momento, pero ese es el gran desafío. De ahí también que crea que es más complicado adaptarse al GT500 peleando desde el primer Super Fórmula. Hemos visto a menudo pilotos que suben primero a la Super Fórmula y luego saltan al GT500. Hay casos invertidos, pero son los menos.
Perfecto, bueno, le vamos a leer a Geinou en inglés lo que puso Jorge. Hi friends, good afternoon. The championship of Formula 3 Japanese last year, Sasha took it on the track, and the Motorpark team on the desk with the homologation of different parts of the car and penalize Toms who wanted to do the same as the other years. What is your opinion about the motor park and Tom's battle on the desk? And finally, as Alex told recently, the Ritomo Miyata disqualification of that two races.
That's a tough topic.
I can imagine.
It's a tough topic because I want to play a little bit Switzerland here because I'm very neutral to this, and I have to admit I'm not for Formula 3. I wasn't like very much in the known what went on between the two teams. I read out about it later. It was actually Jiro Takahashi. If you know the SuperGT broadcasts, you know him. That's the guy, the pit reporter. He's like a veteran of the sport. He's like doing this since many years. And he wrote an interesting opinion piece on this in Japanese on Autosport Web. It's difficult. I don't know who was in the right and who was in the wrong there. Obviously, things like cheating aren't okay. But on the other hand, it's interesting that it became a bit dirty this year between the two camps, and seeing disqualifications and decisions made on the green table. Do you say that in English? On the green table?
I'm not sure we say on the table. We say on the
desk, right?
Yeah, on the desk, or
yeah. That's a German proverb. You say it on the green table. Why? I don't ask me why. It's just one of those things.
Are the office tables green in Germany where they decide to penalize you?
Maybe
they might have been in the past.
Yeah, in the past it might have been green. You know, like the red telephone with the president.
Okay, yeah, I get that.
Yeah, it's tough. I try to be pretty neutral here. So, but I don't think the disqualifications should like put like a bad light, or like say that the what Sasha Fenestras was doing in Formula 3, like his success he had and all the achievements he had there, like they should be ranked lower or something. No. He had a fantastic season, and it would have been an even closer battle, and it shows that how good Miyata was as well, even with losing points, having this close battle.
Okay, lo que decía...
And for the record, I have to say that I think this is my opinion, of course, but I think that Sacha could have still taken the title, or should have still taken the title. If you see, for example, how his last round was, he was just unbeatable, and on his good day, let's say, nobody could touch him. So you have to wonder if you just go and add the points that Miyata lost, it's still not enough to take the title. So for me, it was a case of seeing two great young drivers doing great stuff on track. I've seen that they have good relationship off the track as well, so I can only admire what they did last year and what they're going to do this year as well. And hopefully we can see a few more battles between them in the future.
Yeah, definitely. And I think both are like huge prospects of having like a great future in Japan, and maybe even in the international motorsport, because like it's not like just because you're racing in Super GT or Super Formula that you will always be staying there. Like you see with some Super Formula drivers, like moving on to go to Europe, and Super GT also is on the radar for many to see. Oh, hey, there are some great young drivers there, and Miyata is a fantastic driver, and I think both he and Sasha, they will have great battles on track, or continue to have great battles on track.
Perfecto. Bueno, lo que decía Geinou es que naturalmente que Sacha ganó bien el campeonato, que más allá de la polémica reglamentaria eso se resolvió en otro ámbito que no es el deportivo, que es un tema complicado de llevar adelante, de dar una opinión, como Alex ahí, que bueno, se la jugó un poquito ahí con esa opinión, pero que de todas maneras Sacha se mueven las cosas y encontraron ese resquicio, y bueno, Toms terminó un poquito aceptando que en efecto esto fue así durante el 2019. Tenemos más mensajes, gracias a Dios. Dice Jorge Magistris que Sacha va a poner a Condor Racing en Super Fórmula a la altura de Toms por su capacidad de piloto. ¿Qué piensa Alex?
Sí, yo te diría que es perfectamente plausible. Hay que recordar a todo esto, para aquellos que igual siguieron a partir del año pasado, no lo hayan seguido en el pasado, hay que recordar, Nick Cassidy estuvo peleando por el campeonato ya en 2018 con Condor Racing, y de hecho recordamos que perdió ese título justo al final con Naoki Yamamoto, y por lo tanto es un piloto o es un equipo, mejor dicho, que ya ha estado para pelear por el título. Por lo tanto, con un equipo que para mí está para pelear, con un compañero como Kenta Yamashita, que no solo es rapidísimo, sino que además ahora está mucho más metido en el ambiente europeo, por virtud de estar en el equipo High Class en el WEC. Hablé con gente del equipo, por cierto, hace un mes y medio, y me hablaban maravillas de Kenta, tanto en personal como en profesional. Y por tanto, pues eso, con un equipo que es competitivo y con un compañero que tiene ya los años de experiencia necesarios para ganar, incluso para, no voy a decir enseñarle a Sacha, pero sí para marcarle un camino. Tiene un referente fantástico para saber si está haciéndolo bien en Super Fórmula, y por lo tanto son para mí una de las parejas de pilotos más interesantes de la temporada 2020. Si competimos cuando llegue el momento de competir, sin duda Sacha para mí es uno de los pilotos a los que hay que prestar atención, porque las opciones están. No digo que haya que obligarle, que haya que esperar, y que si no está peleando por el título sea una decepción, pero hay que esperar que exista la posibilidad de que esté peleando por el título. Lo hizo Alex Palou el año pasado, lo puede hacer este año tranquilamente Sacha Fenestraz, si se adapta, si los motores Toyota son competitivos, si Condor Racing está donde le toca. Las manos las tiene, y el equipo también, por lo tanto, los elementos necesarios están.
Perfecto, ahora va la pregunta para Geinou. Dice, it says Jorge Magistris on our YouTube chat, Sacha will put Condor Racing on Super Formula to Tom's high only as his racing abilities. What's your opinion about it?
You mean the Sasha's racing abilities with Condor Racing? Because
Yes.
I didn't quite catch
Like he's saying, like he will be able to put Condor Racing at same level as Tom's in Super Formula.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I think so. Condor Racing did a lot of changes over the last couple of years, and they are a championship team now. They can compete for the championship, and as I said earlier, internally they changed a lot, but also with Nick Cassidy and Kenta Yamashita, they had two young drivers, and this is always a risk, getting like two young drivers unexperienced with the championship, two rookies, into the car and then develop it. But it worked out perfectly. They both scored pole positions. Nick scored his first victory a year later then, and they won the team championship. They beat like one of the giants of the series. They beat Toms, they beat Impol, they beat Dandelion, Mugen, and all those teams, and Tsurumo Inging. Let's not forget, that was also a small team that in the SF14 era won three driver championships, and beat the giant teams. And it shows how competitive Super Formula is, that the smaller teams can compete with the bigger teams. And I think with Sasha's ability and understanding of the car, and he already showed at the test at Fuji last week how quick he is. I mean, he calls his car the Rocket. And I think he can have some great battles with Toms, either with Nick or with Kazuki Nakajima and all the other all-star drivers they have in the championship, like Yuhei Sekiguchi, Hiroaki Shura, with his teammate Kenta Yamashita and Kamui Kobayashi, Naoki Yamamoto, and then all of them. So interestingly, I think not just for him the fight for like the championship. I don't think he should be like his first priority winning the championship in his first year, but I think he has the ability to fight for the championship. But for him, the first priority should be beating all the other rookies, because there are some good rookies this year in Super Formula, and I think he has a good chance coming out on top of all of them.
Perfecto. Lo que dice Jens es que bueno, que hay muy buenos debutantes en la Superfórmula este año, muy buenos rookies, y que es muy pareja la categoría con equipos como Dandelion. Está también el equipo Toms, obviamente Dandelion anduvo muy bien en las pruebas también, y que esa paridad entre los principales equipos de la categoría, los 3 o 4, bueno, el año pasado Nakajima Racing con Alex Palou, que lamentablemente se fue a la IndyCar y no va a estar en Japón este año, pero bueno, es un salto que él quería hacer. Que esos 3 o 4 equipos están un poco a la altura y que bueno, Sacha eventualmente con su capacidad puede llevar a sacar adelante esta temporada que va a ser su debut en la máxima categoría de Motorbox, en la máxima categoría de automovilismo japonés, Motorbox, porque estaba leyendo, en el chat tenemos Fabián Franco Carp, dice que también acá hay gente que interactúa entre ellos, eso está bueno. Dice Fabián Franco Carp, hola Motorbox, nuevo suscriptor, ¿qué pasó con el patrocinio de Red Bull a uno de los otros del equipo Toms? Y le contesta Renzo Miku 69, imagino que es fan de Hatsune Miku, que dice que hay un nuevo acuerdo de Red Bull con Honda del equipo Mugen, Alex.
Sí, ese es un poco el tema que sabíamos que tenía que acabar pasando. Era esa historia eterna de Red Bull va a sponsorizar un coche, Red Bull va a sponsorizar un coche, Red Bull va a sponsorizar un coche. Se habló de Lexus, se habló de Honda, se habló de Nissan, se habló de todos los coches posibles. Y la única entrada se dio, recordamos, con Ryo Hirakawa y con Nick Casey eventualmente, como sponsor secundario de ese Toms número 37 del Keeper. Y al final, bueno, pues lógicamente esa asociación con Honda en la Fórmula 1 ha acabado dando sus frutos en el automovilismo japonés, que creo que era algo que todos más o menos lo teníamos visto. De momento hemos visto una decoración de pretemporada, esa basada en el Red Bull White Edition, que parece muy bonito, la verdad, pero habrá que esperar exactamente cómo va a salir decorado en la carrera cuando llegue. En principio, a partir de junio tenemos esas opciones de empezar el campeonato. Es una sponsorización que tenía que llegar, como digo, era una cuestión de tiempo. Creo que es bueno para el campeonato que por fin, después de tantos años, va a haber un coche completamente con los colores de Red Bull. Y por tanto, eso además lo que hace es mostrar el compromiso de la marca con el motorsport en Japón. Ya sabíamos que había un cierto compromiso a través de ciertos pilotos, pero creo que si alguno tenía alguna duda, ahora está más que claro. Dicho lo cual, Team Mugen, uno de los equipos con más historia del SuperGT, sin duda. Hay que recordar que hace pocos años ahora que han vuelto al campeonato, pero en cualquier caso es un equipo al que siempre hay que tener en cuenta y del que tengo interés por ver qué va a pasar este año, porque tiene uno de los fichajes que más me sorprendió, que es el de Ukio Sasahara. Es un fichaje de un piloto que ha dado muchísimas vueltas por el motorsport, un piloto que vino a Europa joven, hizo la Fórmula R 2.0, no acabó de funcionar, tuvo que volver a Japón después de un brevísimo paso por la Fórmula 3 europea y sabiendo que no había funcionado en Europa, reinició su carrera en Japón después de Europa. Por lo tanto, volvió a Japón y empezó desde la Fórmula 4, fue subcampeón, subió a la Fórmula 3, rindió bien, no acabó de encontrar un paso al primer nivel, pasó por la Porsche Carrera Cup en Japón, ganó, tuvo que volver a buscarse el camino en la Fórmula 3 asiática, donde también triunfó. Por lo tanto, un piloto que ha tenido que ganarse con muchísimo esfuerzo cada uno de los escalones que ha pasado y que ahora pues le llega de forma inesperada ese paso a primera línea, en este caso en el Team Mugen, y que él mismo decía que no se lo esperaba, y Honda le ha dado esa oportunidad que creo que es una oportunidad de oro y que va a intentar aprovechar muchísimo. El porqué de esta oportunidad es muy sencillo. Ese volante tenía que ser para Nobuharu Matsushita, que Honda lo quería en Japón, lo quería en el Team Mugen en GT500 y lo querían en el equipo de Ryo Michigami, en ese Three-Bond Drago Corse en la Super Fórmula. No pudo ser así porque el piloto nipón, porque Matsushita no quería estar en Japón, quería estar en la Fórmula 2 para optar a esa superlicencia y a la Fórmula 1, y por lo tanto pues eso tuvo un efecto cadena que terminó, pues como decíamos, con Sasahara en ese equipo Mugen con los colores de Red Bull. que para mí pues va a ser uno de los puntos interesantes de esta temporada, porque no tengo muy claro qué esperar de esa Sahara en SGT 500, pero me intriga ver qué puedo hacer. Quizás el único problema es que van a estar con esos neumáticos Yokohama que sabemos que son los más débiles del campeonato, más débiles que Bridgestone, más débiles que Michelin y quizás a la par con Dulo.
Perfecto, le preguntamos también a Jens what happened with Red Bull sponsorship to one cars of the Toms, the keeper Toms, number 37 last year drove by Nick Cassidy and Ryo Hirakawa, and this year moved to Team Mugen, as Alex explained to us. What is your opinion and your view in general about this topic?
Yeah, I mean the partnership between Honda and Red Bull isn't something that is entirely new. We saw it in Formula One since some time now, and it's and especially in Super Formula with one of the Mugen cars having a Red Bull livery. And last year, also one of the B-Max with Motorpark cars also had a Red Bull livery, because two of their Red Bull athletes, well, in the case of Mugen, they were a bit more than just one driver, because it was a bit fluctuating. They swapped out their drivers driving in Japan, so it's no surprise that now in Super GT they also have a partnership. Red Bull and Super GT is actually a long history. There has been, even though there has been no like directly sponsored Red Bull car in Super GT, this was something Red Bull has been working on for quite some time. And over the years, there have been many rumors. First, that a Nissan with a Red Bull livery could appear. Then we had Red Bull on the 37, on the Keeper Tom's car. You have to understand that Red Bull wasn't a title sponsor of that car. The title sponsor was the Keeper Pro Shop. But Red Bull is working together with Ryo Hirakawa, who became the first Japanese Red Bull athlete in motorsports, and then Nick Cassidy, who also became a Red Bull athlete, and they both like have Red Bull sponsorship. They have like caps and they have the cans and everything. And Red Bull was on their car because both of them are Red Bull athletes. They're just not in Red Bull's like junior program or anything, but they're official Red Bull athletes. But now Red Bull decided to go with Honda, with their long-time partner, and Mugen is like the perfect choice, obviously, because of the Super Formula connection, and that led to Mugen dropping one of their Honda sponsorships with Modulo. Module, I'm sorry. Module was the other car. Module, the company was sponsors a lot of cars, most prominently the Nismo car. So they dropped that and became got the title sponsorship of Red Bull for the first time this year. And I have to say, the livery they had at Okayama during the testing, that looked pretty good. That looked sexy. That white Red Bull livery, that had style. Unfortunately, that's not the livery we're going to see this season. Because that was only for testing, just like Team Kunimitsu does it. They have like this Phase 1 livery every year for testing, which is like a lot black color on the car. And then before the season starts, they initiate Phase 2, which has like the classic Team Kunimitsu like blue colors on it. And that will be the same with the number 16 with the Mugen car. We don't know how it will look like. It's expected to be more traditional Red Bull colors, but yeah, I think it's great because Red Bull, whatever you think about the energy drinks and then the company itself, but Red Bull does a lot for marketing and exposure for the sport, and I think in the long run, this could help Super GT getting more international attention through the work they do on social media and more, but also in Japan as well. And that's why I think it's great having them as one of the title sponsors as on one of the cars.
Perfecto, es lo que decía Jens un poco. Bueno, también esto cómo se tejen un poco estos acuerdos y bueno, como Nick Cassidy es un atleta Red Bull, en este caso también la asociación con Honda que contaba un poco antes Alex, y obviamente este cambio de dirección en cuanto a los sponsors, que bueno, suele ser habitual. en el mundo del automovilismo, aunque en Japón parece ser más estable que en otros años, según lo que se puede ver en las carreras viejas del canal. Contestaba esta pregunta a Renzo Miku. Nos vamos a otra pregunta que les pregunta a los dos, el amigo Renzo Miku 69, que cuál es el equipo para Alex y para Geinou. Primero vamos con Alex. ¿Cuál es el equipo más fuerte en GT300, en la categoría de la clase menor?
A mí ya sabéis que me gusta muchísimo el GT300. Si me habíais escuchado el año pasado, pues sabéis que es una categoría por la que tengo un punto débil, porque siempre hay muchísimo movimiento. Hay muchos coches, muchos equipos, todos ellos son candidatos, las situaciones pueden cambiar completamente de una carrera a otra. Y en ese sentido, tiene una parte buena, y es que siempre es interesante, y tiene una parte mala, y es que es muy difícil de teorizar qué equipos son los que pueden ir bien. Para mí no hay un favorito. Creo que es muy difícil hablar de un solo favorito. Creo que hay que ir a buscar equipos varios. Yo creo que hay 3 o 4 equipos que son a los que hay que prestar más atención. Creo que uno de los grandes favoritos sin duda tiene que ser el Arta, ese Honda número 55, el NSX de Toshiki Oyu y de Shinichi Takagi. Hay que buscar también los coches de Lexus en la categoría de GT300. Hay que recordar que el LM Corsa o el K-Tunes Racing, depende de cuál de los dos coches, el 6096, van a mantener los RCF. Va a ser prácticamente la única presencia de Lexus en el campeonato, porque recordamos que en 500 los Lexus dejan paso a los Toyota Supra. Entonces, para mí el número 96 de Mori Onita y de Sena Sakaguchi va a ser también candidato. Recordamos que junto al 55 fueron los dos grandes candidatos al título la pasada temporada. Y nunca hay que descartar pues la presencia de alguno de los Nissan GT-R de Gainer, por ejemplo. No hay que descartar tampoco a los Mercedes AMG de GT, por ejemplo el Leon Racing, siempre es un coche al que hay que esperar. También hay que esperar evidentemente al de Good Smile Racing, al equipo del Team Ukio, ese equipo precisamente con los colores de Hatsune Miku. Y yo lo que tengo más intriga, no voy a hablar de un favorito sin duda, pero sí voy a hablar de un equipo que a mí particularmente me apetecería mucho que estuviera arriba, y es sin duda el equipo, para mí el más interesante, es el Saitama Toyopet Green Brave, con ese Toyota GR Supra de GT300. Recordamos, no es un coche de calle en GT3, sino es uno de los auténticos GTs japoneses, un JAF GT, por lo tanto, un coche con la normativa del GT300 exclusiva. Insisto en ello, no son los GT3 que podemos ver luego compitiendo en otras categorías del mundo. Y es un equipo que ha diseñado su propio coche para intentar desafiar a los grandes equipos. Es verdad que con Kota Kawai y con Hiroki Yoshida quizás no deberían ser uno de los grandes favoritos, pero sí que me generan mucho interés, mucha intriga por ver qué pueden hacer este año. Además es un coche que si lo veis es muy reconocible por ese color verde, aunque de la misma manera que me intriga ese Supra auténtico, puro de GT300, pues también me da una cierta lástima, porque hasta el año pasado utilizaban ese maravilloso Toyota Mark X, que era uno de los coches más inusuales del GT300. En cualquier caso, en GT300, para mí, si me preguntáis, yo creo que la clave va a ser una grandísima igualdad con varios coches que pueden optar al campeonato. Más que eso, amigos, hasta que veamos las primeras carreras, es muy difícil de hablar.
Perfecto, vamos con Jens también. Geinou, what is your favorite team in GT500 for this year? Alex told us about GT300, and he spoke about his team, the Arta team, and the Toyota Mark X competed last year with the Saitama Toyopet team, and was a very fast car, a very rare car for GT racing or motorsport racing in general.
Yeah, the Mark X was great. I think it was a great addition. Having the
I loved it. I had a soft spot for it. I wouldn't deny that.
I really like it too. It's actually a shame that it's not competing anymore. But now we're getting a self-developed. This is like you have to understand this. Saitama Toyopet, they developed their own Jeff GT. I mean, that was a Jeff GT mother chassis, but now for this year they developed their Jeff GT Toyota Supra on their own. without much or any support by Toyota.
I think the only support from Toyota they have is they ask, can we use the name of the car?
Yes.
And they said, yep, no problem.
You get the badge and you get the design of the Supra, and that's it. And they develop their own car, and it's not a big team. It's a fairly small team using their all engineers and mechanics from the shops they have, and I think this. Like building this car itself is like a huge achievement, and if they can be strong this year, and there has to be like a little bit of asterisk because we should probably talk about some of the rule changes in GT300 this year and what kind of impact they could have. But if they can be as strong as they were with the Mark X last year, then that would be great, because like having a regular Jeff GT in Super GT, a new one next to the two Toyota Prius, or Pri as the plural is, as I have learned.
And the BRZ as well.
And the BRZ, of course, that's what I want to talk about. And the BRZ, so next to them, so having like 4 of those now next to the mother chassis, which unfortunately are a bit reducing right now. And hopefully we can see an increase in them in the near future with the next generation MC car. But having that, I think, is great for the championship, because GT300, of course, the majority are GT3 cars. But the question, what is my favorite team in GT500? I always get asked, what's my favorite team in GT500? And I always have like the most boring answer possible, because I'm like, I love all of them. You know, they're all my babies in a way. And I don't want any of them to suffer. I want all of them to succeed. And of course, like, there are like moments where I'm like, oh man, I hope this team can succeed like in this race and in this year. And you know, that sometimes you have like this underdog stories. For example, in 2016, when the Wet Sports Bando won their first race in Thailand, that was such a beautiful moment. They had bad luck in the race, but also good luck at the same time, with the tire bursting right before they had to pit, and they won the race. And they're such a small team, and then seeing Masaki Bando, who founded the team, and like crying, and he's like the chairman of GTA, the sort of Super GT boss initially. The Super GT boss, sorry, in case you don't know, and seeing him like crying and hugging his son, who's managing the team now, that was a great moment. Or in 2017 with the last Suzuka 1000 kilometers edition, seeing Nakajima Racing, such a long time competitor in the series, finally winning a race again, and also being successful at the Dream Race last year at Fuji with the DTM. That's always great to see, but I'm sorry, I have to make the most boring answer ever. It's like, I love all of them. They're all my babies, and I want all of them to succeed.
I think we've all been there. I mean, you have all the great stories, and I think for motorsport to succeed as well, you need those stories. You cannot just have, oh yeah, I want this one to win. I think the best thing is when you have, as you say, some small teams making the underdog stories, or some big teams. For me, one of the great stories of recent years was how Team Kunimitsu, despite being one of the great teams of the championship, they had never won the championship in GT500.
Yes. So
seeing them finally win, even though they have always been such a strong team, so seeing them finally taking that title, that's a story as well. And you cannot help but feel a little bit, connected to that victory. Or on the other side, when we see how unfortunate Jan Mardenborough has been in a few races,
oh yeah,
you feel like that has to come at some point, and it has to come back. So I think we've all been there. I think it's I've always told you that even outside of this like kind of video, but I've always felt like Japanese motorsport has a healthy environment in general, with people sticking together through the difficult days as well. So you say it's a boring answer. I think it's the only answer.
I'm glad to hear, but yeah, especially Jan Mardenborough is such a talented, skilled and fantastic driver, but he didn't have the luck yet in GT500. He was so close winning races. Was it last year or 2 years ago? Where in Thailand, where it was was it last year or 2 years ago?
2 years ago, was it?
I think it was 2 years ago, where right before the end of the race, they were unfortunate and couldn't finish because of a technical problem. And it breaks your heart seeing those emotions, because you want these drivers to succeed. You see them race their butt off, literally. And so it's a great joy seeing them finally succeed and seeing, hey, we know that these drivers are capable of doing that. For example, last year in GT300, LM Corsa, they were the first ones to use the Lexus RCF GT3. They pretty much like built this whole project in Super GT, and first their sister car, known as the K-Tunes team, they succeeded more with the car over the years, but last year was finally their year to win at Autopolis with a great dash at the end, where you literally were like, okay, where did they come from, with like the perfect tire strategy, a little bit of luck, of course, but it at the Sprint Cup in the supporting event for the Fuji Dream Race, they also show how strong they were with winning both the Saturday and Sunday race, and that was really Ritomo Miyata's moment. And on the podium, you saw him like standing there, spreading his arms out, and everyone on the podium was so happy for him and Hiroki Yoshimoto to win, and they all like put their like champagne over him and pretty much showered him in champagne, and he was enjoying this moment, and that was great to see. And now we have him in GT500, and you're like, yeah, that's where he belongs. That's where he deserves to be in GT500, because he's such a great young driver. And yeah, that's why. And what you also mentioned with like a very healthy environment, I feel like it's like a big family. There are like some people who maybe like disagree a little bit and be like, maybe not that big of a family because they're still competitors and everything. But for me, it feels like a big family with people sticking together. Of course, there's always behind the scenes stuff going on, where like being like, oh, I don't know if like your car is that legal or something like that. You know, it's like you have that in every championship. But in the end, I feel like it's a big family, and it's great to watch.
Perfecto, ahí lo que decía Geinou es un poco que él decía que son sus bebés, ahí los otros SuperGT, pero bueno, estaba esta charla sobre los equipos, digamos, los que no son los principales. Por ejemplo, él hablaba del equipo que hoy dirige Masataka Bando, que ganó en su momento en Tailandia en el 2016, y también, por ejemplo, Team Kunimitsu, que lo mencionaba Alex también, nunca había ganado un campeonato de GT500 y lo pudo hacer con Jenson Button, ni más ni menos el ex campeón de la Fórmula 1. Ahora lo que pregunta acá, por ejemplo, Rob Lomas, es una pregunta que está así difícil de responder. Porque preguntan, y hay también comentarios en el chat, sobre cómo se va a televisar el Super GT fuera de Japón. How Super GT will be telecast outside of Japan this year after that round in Okayama. I remember RJ O'Connor did a special broadcast for that round. Finally, the race was suspended by the heavy rain. But this year, we don't have any news for any form of broadcasting outside of Japan. So it could be a very tough year in that regard. What do you think, Geinou? And then we'll back to Alex.
Yeah, well, last year the only race you could have missed was the Okayama one, because there wasn't much of a race. So lucky break, I guess, that we had no broadcast rights outside of Japan and Malaysia and Thailand for that race. But yeah, this year I'm actually pretty confident that someone will broadcast it. Obviously, there are no information yet. As you know, Haro Sports Entertainment from Malaysia, they are the official distributor of the broadcast rights, and of course, it's a business, so people want to make money. That's why that's what Masaki Bando, the GTA chairman, explained, that they cannot just give away the rights for free. It's a business, and Haro Sports will find a suitable partner. I don't know if it will be the race on YouTube or if it will be Motorsport TV again. I think the only thing we know is that there will be the English full race replays on the official Super GT YouTube channel. They talked about this briefly on YouTube, wrote a comment that they're working on it. that they want to upload the Japanese and the English broadcast again, so there will be English commentary for that. But yeah, as for live broadcasts, right now I believe that we're probably getting Motorsport TV again. Mm-hmm. That's what I'm thinking. But I honestly, I can't tell you because there are no information available. But I'm pretty confident that there will be someone broadcasting the races live, and hopefully for free. That's the important part, because putting it behind a paywall would be a bad idea.
Uh-huh. ¿Qué pensás, Alex? ¿Se va a televisar fuera de Japón, como dice Geinou, con motorsport.tv, o habrá otra alternativa que se pueda llegar a encontrar hasta que empiece la temporada? Que bueno, como hablábamos al principio, la misma fue postergada por el brote de coronavirus.
Sí, yo creo que quizás el primer punto es este. Es difícil hablar de derechos televisivos, de broadcasters, de lugares en los que ver...
Parece que perdimos a Alex. Parece que lo perdimos a Alex.
¿Sí, me escucháis ahora?
Sí, ahora te escucho.
Creo que ahora sí me escucháis, ¿verdad?
Sí, yo te escucho.
Perfecto. Decía que es difícil hablar de televisiones, de broadcast, de lugares en los que ver las carreras cuando ni siquiera sabemos exactamente dónde y ni cuándo vamos a tener esas carreras. A mí me da la sensación de que cuando esto empiece, como muy pronto va a ser en junio, por lo tanto, que en marzo tengamos información sobre lo que va a pasar en junio, cuando el año pasado nos costó llegar hasta la primera carrera, incluso sin saber un poco cómo iba a resolver esa situación, creo que es pronto. Dicho lo cual, lo decía Jens, no tengo ninguna duda de que va a resolverse esa situación, o es que ni siquiera es hablar de resolverse, no hay un problema que resolver, es más una cuestión de llegar a un acuerdo que beneficie a las partes implicadas. Tengo bastante claro que ahora mismo especialmente hay interés en que esto funcione bien. Si Red Bull tiene un patrocinio de un coche entero, que nadie sufra. Red Bull va a tener interés, las marcas tienen interés, Toyota tiene interés con su vuelta al campeonato, por lo tanto, todo el mundo tiene interés en especial esta temporada, que funcione las retransmisiones internacionales. Por lo tanto, estaría muy sorprendido si no tuviéramos manera en la que poder seguir el campeonato. Por tanto, tranquilidad, cuando llegue el momento seguro que nos vaya llegando la información, y estoy 100% convencido que vamos a tener una manera legal y fácil, sencilla de poder seguir el campeonato, como ha sido el caso en años recientes.
Claro, porque lo que decía, por ejemplo, Rob Lomas acá, es que The Race tiene en YouTube las carreras, como puso Jens, en su nota de Racing Blog hace un par de días, que tiene todavía las transmisiones de Sam Collins, otro número 1, y Leaf o Gorman, o como se pronuncia Leaf, no sé si está bien pronunciado.
Sí, Leo Gorman.
En los comentarios que, bueno, ellos tenían las transmisiones cuando era el canal de Nismo, hasta que eso se cortó el año pasado, ¿no?
Sí, yo estoy seguro, me consta que ellos lo quieren. Sé que ellos lo quisieran recuperar. Lo que no he hablado en tiempos recientes con ellos para saber exactamente cómo está la situación. Ya te digo, sé que lo querían. Les supo mal perderlo el año pasado, y de hecho ellos hubo un momento en el que ellos estaban convencidos que lo iban a tener el año pasado, el plan era tenerlo, y fue una situación un poco más interna por cómo se gestionó con Motorsport TV, que ellos no lo tuvieran. Pero estoy seguro que ellos lo van a buscar este año. En principio la Super Fórmula va a seguir, ellos dijeron que iban a seguir, por lo tanto la parte de los monoplazas sí la tenemos ya confirmada, pero faltará que ellos puedan confirmar también el SuperGT. No me voy a mojar, no me voy a atrever a decirte que lo vayan a tener, pero sí sé que lo van a querer.
Perfecto. Bueno, pues le digo a Jens, Rob Lomas said on our YouTube channel, I think the race might still have it on YouTube with Sam Collins and Leif O'Gorman on comms. At least I have some free time to catch up on last season now. I said in Spanish that yes, and you have posted the best Super GT races of last decade. Very useful post. I saw 3 races until now, and it was a fantastic idea to pass these days at home.
Yeah, glad to hear. Yeah, there are fantastic races over the last decade, and I could have posted them all. I mean, like, just watch them all because they're all great. So picking only one race per year and then like 2 or 3 alternatives, it was quite tough. Believe me, it was quite tough. I mean, and it could have easily filled the list with races from Sportsland Sugo because it's such an amazing track and the rounds there are always super wild. But there have been some fantastic races, some memorable races over the last year. So it was quite tough. Picking the right ones, but I'm glad that you're enjoying that. And yeah, the race has a lot of races until 2018 with Sam Collins and changing co-commentators. Lee Gorman, they did together the Super Formula last year. I don't know if they also did Super GT ones together, but they definitely did Super Formula last year. So if you want to catch up on Super Formula last year, which also had some fantastic races, highly recommended. They're also on the race. And this is something I should mention, that there was a time where it was really, really tough to follow Japanese motorsport, be it Super GT or Super Formula or Formula Nippon as it was known back then. And right now we're like, even if there are some uncertainties, like who will be broadcasting and where and will it be free and whatnot, but it's some sort of dreamland in a way that you have such easy access even to old races. The official Super GT channel is on YouTube is doing a fantastic job uploading all those old races from the last decade, and they even went to their personal warehouse and got the tapes from like the mid 2000s and early 2000s with races from that time period, and they want to digitize them and upload them to YouTube as well. So over the course of the next year, month, or years, I think we're going to have easy access to a huge archive of Super GT / JGTC races, as it was known until 2005. 2004, sorry, 2005 it was Super GT then. So, and not just in Japanese, but also in English, with so many broadcasters now wanting to show Super GT and Super Formula. And I think that's great. And even the other championships, like TCR Japan is broadcasting on YouTube. Super Taikyu is broadcasting on YouTube on their own. Super Formula Lights will be on YouTube. Formula 3 already did on YouTube. Formula 4, Japanese Formula 4 Championship, which is run by the GTA and FIA certified. This is also on YouTube. So there's a lot of Japanese motorsport you can watch these days on the internet, which is great, because when I started writing about this, because I was frustrated, I was like, man, there isn't enough, you know? This is such great racing, but people don't know where to read about it, because all the like reports are in Japanese, and there is no way to watch it, but at least maybe people can read about it and then maybe catch a video or two on YouTube, or maybe there will be some stream somewhere in the depths of the internet, you know? And that's why I started in 2011, finally reporting about this after thinking about it all the time. And right now, I mean, we are in a great situation having access to all of that.
Perfecto. Lo que decía Jens es un poco eso, que bueno, que todo lo que tiene que ver con la televisión, seguramente va a haber interés de las marcas en hacerlo, como decía Alex, y también obviamente, bueno, existe también un aumento en el interés, porque lo que decía también es una limitación idiomática, que la mayoría de los deportes están en japonés, y también el trabajo que hace él y el trabajo de Rory para hacerlo en inglés, fundamentalmente es muy importante, así también como el de Alex para Diario Motor, ¿no? Evidentemente es necesario también ese tipo de cuestiones, pero bueno, la pregunta que tenía para los dos, la voy a hacer primero para Alex un poco, es si más allá de las fechas o no fechas, que nos cuenten un poquito cómo es el SuperGT, que era algo que habíamos hablado también antes de empezar la emisión. ¿Cómo se divide el SuperGT? ¿Qué tipo de reglamento tiene para aquellos que por ahí no están en contacto habitualmente con la categoría y que tiene un poco también esta que puede no saber de qué estamos hablando, ¿no? Con todo esto, ¿no? Alex, ¿qué nos puedes contar?
Sí, hombre, evidentemente el SuperGT como tal, tiene una serie de normativas muy particulares, muy concretas, muy, vamos a llamarle, poco sui generis, están como en un mundo aparte. Sí es cierto, y esto me gustaría que lo mencionara Jens, porque sé que lo tiene muy al dedillo, lo tiene muy estudiado. Hay varios cambios de normativa con respecto al año pasado, sobre todo un tema de los handicaps de peso, y sí que me gustaría que lo mencionara él, y luego volvemos un poco a los temas más generales. Jens, I was saying, Esteban was asking us about a little bit about SuperGT and particularities about SuperGT and everything, and I was thinking, I think you know better than I do about all the weight handicap changes for GT300. I think there's a few changes from last year, and it's definitely very important because it will change how things are going to develop this season compared to past seasons. So I'll hand it off to you because I know that you know this much better than I do it. I won't deny that. So
okay, you're giving me the cars like the second stint.
Yes,
tires. Go for the
car for you.
All right. So yeah, there will be a couple of changes in the rules compared to last year. I mean, the biggest one will be we finally have full course yellow after the controversy last year at the Fuji 500 miles round. Was a huge topic among the drivers, and it was heavily discussed in the drivers' meeting. About if the race control did the right call or not, and then footage didn't get released like they usually do with the onboard footage of the winning car and everything. So full course yellow it is. There will be regular safety car, but first they will do full course yellow like you know it from, for example, the Intercontinental GT Challenge Cup.
International Intercontinental GT Challenge, challenge.
Challenge. Championship. It's, sometimes you get a bit confused with all those names. I'm sorry. IGTC. So yeah, pretty much like full course yellow. Then you have to slow down, and the pits will be closed. And if the situation cannot be cleared in full course yellow because it's too dangerous, they will get the regular safety car out, which won't be a Honda NSX this year, but the new Toyota Supra. They showed that off at Okayama at the official preseason test. And the new addition to the safety car rule is that until last year, the pits were closed during safety car, but now they will open the pits shortly before they will go green. We don't know if this will be like the last lap on the yellow or 2 laps or the moment the safety car comes in. We don't know that yet, but they will open the pits at the end of the safety car period before they go green. So that's one addition. But the other addition you mentioned will be the weight handicap. And this is for GT300 only. So GT500 will stay the same, where they have the fuel flow restrictor, which got introduced in 2014 with the new cars for safety reasons, to limit the fuel flow, to make them a bit slower. But in GT300, the weight handicap will be more drastic this year. So until last year, for every round except the opening round and the final round, your weight is based on the championship points you accumulated, and it gets multiplied by 2. So if you win the opening round, you go into the next round with 40 kilograms, and so on, until the penultimate round where it gets reduced to the same amount of championship points. So if you have 40 championship points, you also only have 40 kilograms of weight handicap, and not 80. This will change this year, and this time it will be multiplied by 3. That's a lot. So if you win the opening round, whatever the opening round will be this year, you get 20 points. And those 20 points will be 60 kilogram. That's a lot. The penultimate round, they will still reduce it to multiply it by 1. So championship points are the same as the weight handicap. And for the final round, if you participated in all previous races, there will be no weight handicap anymore for the final round. But of course, this is a topic that is heavily discussed in the paddock, especially among the Jeff GT teams, be it the regular Jeff GT guys or the mother chassis teams, because the Jeff GT cars, they lack a little bit of the engine power the GT3 machines have, so they are a bit lighter, and that was one of their advantages. But now with the weight handicap, people fear that the cars won't be able to be competitive as further down the season if they accumulated too much weight handicap. And especially that's the case for the Subaru BRZ, because it has the smallest engine displacement in the class with only 2 liters, and that's why some people in the paddock even call it the new rule BRZ crushing. So we don't know how all of this will play out, but we could potentially see. I mean, we rarely see a team dominating in Super GT these years because of the weight handicap system, but we could see potentially every race an entirely fresh new podium because of this rule. And some even say that it might change the racing. Some teams acting a bit more strategic, saying maybe we shouldn't go too far and get too many points because this will punish us in the next round, which is actually suited for our car, and stuff like that. So people are already making the mathematics in their heads. I don't know if all of this will actually happen. This is just theory crafting. But this rule change could have a heavy influence on how GT300 will turn out this year.
Uh-huh. Bueno, lo que decía un poco Jens, vamos a tratar de traducir todo eso, es que ahora en esta temporada hay un aumento en lo que es el balance de performance, de éxito, y bueno, se va a multiplicar, creo Alex, si mal dijo, por 1,5, o sea, va a ser más que el año pasado en GT300, con lo cual eso obviamente va a tener como 60 kilos de peso extra.
Bueno, de normal, sí. Sí, con respecto al año pasado es 1,5. O sea, vamos a dejarlo claro. Normalmente los puntos van, el peso, va puntos por 2, hasta el año pasado. A partir de 2020 va a ser puntos por 3. Por tanto, pues el ejemplo que dabas era un poco eso. Una victoria da 20 puntos, pues esos 20 puntos se traducían antes en 40 kilos. Se van a traducir este año en 60. Por tanto, pues hay un aumento de peso superior al habitual.
Perfecto, es un poco lo que el gran cambio para este año, que son los cambios en los pesos fundamentalmente. También hablaba Jens, creo que vos también lo mencionaste, sobre el Supra de GT300 que se hizo, digamos, ad hoc para poder competir este año, que reemplaza un poquito al auto Mark X que hablábamos antes, ¿no? Que bueno, anduvo bien en algunas carreras, también al Toyota 86 que compitió el año pasado en GT300, pero bueno, no ha sido el caso de continuar. Dice Rob Lomas, lo digo en textual: 60 kilos is almost the same as having me in the car, lol. It's quite funny.
I mean, no, but there's a reason why people actually say you're carrying a passenger in the car when you have full kilo, when you have right, Jens, when you have maybe by the end of the season you may have 80 kilos or 85 kilos, and that's a huge amount of weight, and it's really it's more than carrying a person with you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's exactly the thing. And at some tracks it hurts you more than on others, obviously, and it also depends on the race length. So there is a good thing, or it's a good decision rather, that for the final round, which, if it will be Motegi, it's only 250 kilometers. Mm-hmm. So, and you don't have that weight limit. But yeah, it feels like having a passenger in your car, and for some it hurts more than for others, and it all depends on the track. So it's quite difficult. It's making it really tough for the teams.
Mm-hmm. It's a bit of strategizing, both in terms of which track do you want your weight on, if you can actually choose where you get your weight or where you get your results. But it's also depending on the characteristics of your machine, because if you are GT3 car, it doesn't affect you in the same way as you were saying before. It doesn't affect you in the same way as if you are, let's say, a MC car or the Japanese GT. So what happened is you need, in a way, you need to decide where you want to get more. I'm not going to say more points, but more weight. And this was more the case in the past and not so much in recent years. But I have to wonder, especially with these changes, if some of the teams will actually try and strategize a little bit more again, which is something that we lost a few years back.
Yeah, we definitely did. And as I said, there are some representatives of some teams, no names were mentioned, but some representatives said like it could change how we approach the races, and they will strategize a bit more. For example, in the past, with the highest paying round was the Suzuka 1000 kilometers. So you wanted to have like a light car for this race to be strong. I mean, that was one of the advantages of Nakajima Racing in 2017. That also helped them to win the race because they had like very low handicap weight. But we also saw like cars with a heavy handicap weight being strong in qualifying, but in the race they fell a bit down, or vice versa. For example, the Nismo team, they struggled in qualifying with the heavy weight handicap, but in the race they were able to, with race strategy and racecraft and everything, they were able to get up to the front. And it helped for them that it was the longer race to get up to the front, but what would have been possible for them if they had a lighter car? They could have potentially run for victory. And this is a round where you want to have like the most points. So this year there will be no Fuji 500 miles round, so there won't be a round that where you can win more points than in the others. But still, this is like a race where you want to be good and want to have a great result, obviously.
Ahí lo que dice un poco, lo que estaban charlando Jens y Alex, un poquito tiene que ver con estas medidas que obviamente antes, cuando estaba la carrera de 1000 kilómetros, te convenía tener un auto liviano, que fue el caso en Nakajima Racing en aquella oportunidad, la última edición allá por 2017, que bueno, esta carrera se reconvirtió en un evento de 300 kilómetros, en un evento, digamos, normal de campeonato, y que bueno, esto siempre, ya sea el balance de performance, siempre premia a quienes van ganando, y por eso también se revuelve un poco la grilla, que fue un poco lo que vimos el año pasado, salvo el auto del ARPA, que evidentemente no tuvo grandes problemas para sortear la temporada cuando estuvo pesado. También mencionaba un poquito cómo se puede ver la temporada, aunque no podemos saberlo mucho actualmente, pero ¿qué se imagina? ¿Qué te imaginas vos, Alex, con respecto a la temporada 2020? ¿Cómo puede ser? ¿Se va a reprogramar, decías, en junio? ¿Se pueden hacer las 8 carreras después de junio en adelante? ¿O tendremos algún evento tal vez en 2021?
Esa es la gran pregunta. Es difícil de resolver, una duda que yo creo que nos asalta, creo, en la gran mayoría de campeonatos de automovilismo del mundo. La Fórmula 1 se plantea tener una temporada entre que empiece en 2020 y acabe en 2021. Campeonatos nacionales que pueden hacer lo mismo, pueden terminar un campeonato y al cabo de un mes o un mes y medio empezar el siguiente. Es una posibilidad. La ventaja relativa que tiene el SuperGT o el SuperGT y la Superfórmula, porque hay que recordar que van en tándem, por tanto, como los pilotos están en los dos certámenes, se va a buscar siempre que encajen esos dos calendarios. No se puede pensar nunca que el SuperGT son solo 8 rondas, porque hay que pensar siempre que a nivel de calendario son esas 8 rondas del SuperGT y luego esas 7 de la Superfórmula. Por tanto, hay 15 competencias que hay que intentar encajar en esos meses. Entonces, teóricamente, si nos centramos en las fechas confirmadas, no tenemos carrera del SuperGT hasta julio. Que tocaría ir a Chang primero, a Tailandia, y luego a Sepang. ¿Se va a empezar el campeonato entonces o vamos a ir antes en alguna carrera en junio? Sobre todo si está cancelado el tema de los o movido de fecha el tema de los Juegos Olímpicos, pues nos podríamos encontrar que en efecto igual en algún momento en junio puede haber alguna de estas rondas. Yo tengo la impresión de que se va a intentar hacer todo en 2020 en Japón. Es mi sensación, sobre todo porque es un campeonato nacional y quizás no hay tanta necesidad de tener unos acuerdos con unos países que si no están este año pueden dejar de estar en años subsecuentes. Por lo tanto, yo creo que tenemos alguna posibilidad de que haya alguna ronda menos de las previstas. Quizás en el SuperGT tengamos 6 o 7 en lugar de 8. En Super Fórmula quizás podamos tener 5 o 6 en lugar de 7. Pero creo que se va a intentar resolver todo hasta 2017. 2020, ya me he ido de atrás. Lo único bueno es que los campeonatos teóricamente tenían que acabar en noviembre. Por lo tanto, el SuperGT podría tener un mes más, quizás hasta diciembre, para intentar en las zonas más cálidas alargar ese campeonato todo lo que se pueda.
Mm-hmm. The same question for you, Geinou. What is your view about the new calendar with this coronavirus expansion around the world, and if the series can make possible to race the 8 events from June to December, or maybe add some month to 2021, maybe January or February. Alex told us about maybe in the better weather conditions in some regions can make it. Maybe this can do it, and this will need to adjust the Super GT and Super Formula calendar to make that 15 events possible to drivers racing in both series.
Yeah, actually, I think it will be tough to get all events in one season, and I don't think there will be a super season going into January. I don't think that's going to happen. Simply because if you want to do both flyaway rounds in Thailand and Malaysia, ideally you do them back to back to save costs, because it's not cheap going to a different country to race there. And also, normally in December, the preparation for next year already starts. You have the traditional winter tests in Sepang in September and everything. So personally, I think they will try to do as many rounds as possible until maybe the end of November. Maybe they can manage to hold as many races as possible with the original season finale date at Motegi at the beginning of November. It definitely helps that the Olympics now got postponed as well. I mean, it's no secret that internally they're working on adjusted schedules now. Super Formula does the same. They're working on adjusted schedules. But the 2 flyaway rounds, they are a big problem finding a proper slot for them, because they are transporting the cars by ship. And that takes about a month to Thailand. And it's a bit shorter from Thailand to Malaysia and then back to Japan. But still, it takes about a month to go to Thailand. And originally the plan was to go to Thailand at the beginning of July, and then 2 weeks later, they are in Malaysia. And in August, there wouldn't have been a race because there would be the Olympics, and they would return to racing in September in Japan. Now, with the first 3 rounds postponed due to the coronavirus, or COVID-19 if you prefer, I don't know if it's possible to hold all rounds. It could be that they try to maybe only do 1 flyaway round, or maybe cancel both and try to hold replacement rounds in Japan. It's hard to tell what's the most realistic option here. As I said, it's a good thing that the Olympics got postponed, so that gives him more breathing room, because originally they didn't want to race during the Olympics. So that gives them more breathing room. Fuji Speedway is available now as well, but you have the problem that all championships need to adjust their schedules. So that includes Super Formula, that includes Super Taikyu as well. And of course, you have like motorcycle racing, but I don't think that has a huge influence on the 4-wheeler racing. But and then in October, you have the World Championships coming to Japan. You have WEC, or WEC, as the cool kids call it, and you have Formula 1 coming to Japan as well. So you cannot race on the same weekend, obviously, when those 2 are in town. That makes it a bit difficult, and some teams are both active in in Super Taikyu and in Super GT with the same people. So holding like both series holding their events on the same weekend isn't very ideal either, and I don't think that's going to happen anyway. That makes it tough to adjust the schedule. So what I think is that we might see a reduced schedule this year, unfortunately. I hope they can somehow, by a miracle, make all 8 rounds happen. But more realistically seen, I think we might be seeing a reduced schedule. But I think, I hope that we at least can get one of the flyaway rounds, like the Malaysia night race, which would be a historic first event, would be the long-awaited return to Malaysia, to Sepang, but also having the first night race in series history, the first night championship race, I should say, and it would be great if it works out, but it's hard to tell, because the other problem is, and I didn't mention this right now because I forgot about it, sorry, but the other problem is the travel restrictions. I mean, right now, getting into Thailand and Malaysia, it's tough. Traveling around the world, it's tough. It's not possible. So when are those travel restrictions lifted? And are they going to get lifted? You cannot plan ahead and be like, okay, you know what? Let's start the season in July in Thailand, but you have to ship the cars like at the beginning of June. But sometime in June, the Thai government says, okay, the travel restrictions aren't getting lifted though. So the chances that not everyone can enter the country, or maybe no one at all. So what then? You know, this is a very tough decision. There's a lot of money involved, and putting Thailand at the end of the year is also a problem, because they have the MotoGP race that got delayed, and the MotoGP race takes priority for them, I think, because it's first of all, it's a world championship event, and second, that's their biggest spectator magnet. There are coming a lot of people just to watch the MotoGP race, while the Super GT numbers, the spectator numbers, unfortunately, over the years went a bit down, with the lowest last year. Last year, actually, we don't know if last year was the lowest, because for the first time, they didn't announce any attendance figures, unfortunately. But it makes it tough, you know, and that's why, realistically seen, we might see a reduced schedule or replacement rounds in Japan. And about when the season will kick off, unfortunately, that's also hard to say. Ideally, we can go racing in June. It could happen in July. It's hard to tell. It's hard to tell how the virus can be contained in Japan, how the rest of the motorsport world will work all of this out, like Formula One. I think it was Lando Norris yesterday. I think he said that he thinks they won't be racing until July in Formula One. So has this an effect on other championships as well? And all of this makes it tough. And they said they will announce the new schedule as soon as the current situation makes it possible, and they will consider it everything, like the what the government is trying to prevent the spread and everything. So right now, the most important thing is that the virus can get contained, that we all can return to normality, and hopefully have racing back soon. But when that will be, hopefully in June, maybe in July. That's what I'm thinking.
Lo que dice Chance, lo traducimos, Geinou, lo que dice, bueno, ahí que la temporada podría arrancar junio, más probablemente en julio, y que se haga solo uno de los 2 eventos internacionales, probablemente el de Malasia, el evento nocturno, tal vez Tailandia, si es que se pueden llevar los autos hasta ahí. Recordemos que en julio están los 2 eventos en Tailandia y en Sepang, evento nocturno en Malasia. Veremos si se llevan a cabo como está previsto. Por ahora sí, no hay nada anunciado, estamos a fines de marzo recién, faltó, digamos, un tiempo, y cómo avanza, digamos, todo el coronavirus, y que es muy caro tener estas 12 fechas para el SuperGT fuera de Japón. Seguramente las 8 fechas, algunas se completen en 2021, y también es muy importante los equipos que participan también en la categoría Super Taikyu, que es, digamos, también muy importante ahí en Japón, con esta... que acompaña, digamos, en el programa deportivo, no el mismo fin de semana, pero suele estar también muy, muy presente en los fans y en los equipos que vienen de ella y ascienden a la mesa del SuperGT, como fue el caso de Condor Racing en En 2019 que ascendieron con Sacha Fenestraz y Kazuki Hiramine, que van a seguir en esta temporada 2020, que bueno, no ha arrancado todavía. ¿Hay algo de lo que quieras mencionar, Alex, que no hemos todavía tratado y te gustaría que la gente supiera en esta transmisión en directo?
Yo creo que hemos tratado bastantes temas. Evidentemente el campeonato da para hablar muchísimo más. Dicho lo cual, y aunque es un tema que no nos gusta a ninguno, todo el mundo está esperando que el motorsport vaya a relanzarse. Ojalá sea así. Pero es razonable, es inteligente estar todos de alguna manera preparados para la posibilidad, en el peor de los casos, que podamos no tener competiciones internacionales a lo largo de este año. Es un caso que es difícil de prever, es muy complicado, como decía antes, sacar la bola de cristal, pero lo mencionaba, lo intuía un poco, lo soltaba Jens. Es perfectamente posible que no haya restricciones levantadas para viajar entre ciertas regiones o para entrar a ciertos países o para salir de ciertos países. Por lo tanto, si es verdad que si la situación en algunos países mejora, competiciones nacionales pueden seguir adelante, pero puede que las internacionales no, por una cuestión de que ciertas regiones estén en peligro más tiempo o en una situación delicada más tiempo que otras, ¿no? Por lo tanto, en el caso de Japón, pues creo que lo que hay que esperar es que estas decisiones que se han tomado desde las altas esferas para un poco contener todo este avance de la situación actual, pues tenga una buena resolución. Si esa tiene una buena resolución, un campeonato nacional es razonable que pueda llevarse a cabo. Tal y como decía Jens, para mí las fechas que están más complicadas son las internacionales, porque es difícil que estas puedan llevarse a cabo temprano. Y como digo, tenemos que estar preparados para la posibilidad de que el automovilismo en general y sobre todo el internacional pueda quedar reducido prácticamente a cero este año. Ojalá que no, pero seamos prudentes y no hay que dar nunca por hechas estos calendarios hasta que tengamos oficialidad, y visto lo que vimos en Melbourne con la Fórmula 1, casi habrá que darlo por hecho solo cuando estén los coches en pista.
Seguro. Jens, Geinou, what is the point you want to mention, you want to talk about that we didn't mention yet?
I think a big point would be, hey, we have new cars in GT500. We have the return of the Toyota Supra. Finally, after like the last Supra race in 2005, and then Toyota switched to Lexus as the brand in Super GT and GT500, and now Toyota makes their glorious return with their legendary sports car with the Supra, and I think that's very exciting. And of course, we now have that classic battle between the Toyota Supra, the Honda NSX GT, and the Nissan GTR. And the other thing, of course, is that the Honda NSX made a big change. It might sound blasphemous for some people, but they made a change from a midship engine to a front layout. So now the engine is sitting in front of the driver, and that they had to do this to comply with the rules of the new Class 1 plus Alpha rules, as they are known in Japan. There are like some minor differences compared to DTM to make all of this more suited for the longer style racing they have in Japan. Like most of the races are 300 kilometers. In DTM, every race is only like 55 minutes long. So they have driver changes and everything. So to make this work, they had to make a couple of adjustments. But the new rules say that Honda cannot get a waiver anymore, and they were like, okay, you know what? We love Super GT, we love competing here. We will obey to those rules and develop a FR NSX GT, which isn't an entirely new thing. They developed one before the last decade even, and tested even with it. There are pictures out there. I sometimes posted them last year and early this year as well from the test. It's quite fascinating looking, that FR NSX GT machine of the first NSX generation. But the car looks almost identical to last year's cars. I think they did a great job still having the DNS of the NSX in the new car, and we'll see how well they perform. I mean, we had the test at Okayama. I'm not the biggest fan of reading into test lap times, because you don't know what kind of test programs everyone was doing. Like, were they focusing on long runs? Were they doing tire tests? Were they testing aerodynamical parts, mechanical parts, and yada yada yada? But often it is like that they're testing with an old engine, a used engine, and then before the season starts, they swap it out with a fresh one and come to the first round with a brand new engine. So it's hard to judge. It seems like the Hondas were quite strong in testing, but Honda still says, hey, we still need to improve. The Toyotas looked very good in the unofficial preseason tests, but weren't as fast, or the majority of them weren't as fast as the Hondas. And they say, yeah, we're lacking a little bit of speed here and there, and need to improve ourselves. But it's hard to tell. Like, we always had like our favorites after the winter, just for them to play not a major role during the season. Either be it because everyone was sandbagging, or because there have been like some sweet little updates throughout the season, even though you're limited what you can do with the cars now. But still, it's hard to interpret those lap times. But I'm very excited to see those new cars in action. I've got close to them, or I had the chance to see them up close at the Dream race last year at Fuji, and they look stunning. And I can't wait to see them in action on track.
Mm-hmm. I am very jealous that you saw them face to face last
year. Oh yeah, I have a lot of envy to Geinou last year at the Fuji Dream Race with SuperGT and DTM come together. It was an amazing event, and you were there.
Yeah, that was a fantastic event. That was tons of fun. It was great seeing all those fans, and I soaked in the atmosphere. And I told, when I had the chance to do an interview with the GTA chairman Masaki Bando, I told them that I really like the atmosphere here, and he was like, "Oh, you have to come to a regular championship round. It's entirely different." And I was like, you're teasing me." And yeah, those cars are great. They were accessible for all the fans that were able to get into the paddock, because they were like on top of the main building where all the pits are located. They put them there on Saturday and Sunday, and that was great. And because I unfortunately missed the press conference they had with Bosch, and where they talked about some of the common parts, like the ECU they're using now. In those new cars, they are all manufactured and developed by Bosch, same as DTM, and they had a press conference about that, because if you notice, like on the windshield on top of this, they have like a new sponsor now with Bosch, and I missed that, unfortunately, and I got told, oh, they're in this room, so I went to this room, and I almost yanked the whole the doorknob out of the door. Was like, oh, let me in, because it was already closed down. I was like, oh no, you missed it. And then I got told by someone from the GTA, so hey, no worries, we're bringing the cars out on top of the building for everyone to see. And I was like, okay. But yeah, those were great, and yeah, it was a great event, the Dream Race. I hope at some point they can do another one. It was great and tons of fun for everyone involved.
Yeah, I was hoping to see another one this year, but of course I think with the current situation that will be probably the last priority for both Super GT and DTM.
Yeah, first of all, it's the last priority, and second, I don't think there would have been another one this year, simply because for the Japanese manufacturers, like the new cars, they are on the limit producing them and building enough parts and everything and developing them. So it would have been a bit it would have been too expensive to to do another dream race, especially like if they want to go through with the idea to maybe hold it somewhere else, like maybe not in Germany, not in Japan, but in a third country, you know, outside of those two countries. And but even like what I thought that maybe we were going to see a car swap, you know, like they had the 3 GT500 cars at the DTM finale this year. But with the current situation, I think this is out of question as well, especially since the DTM schedule, if it can go through like it currently is, will almost make it impossible to do a car swap, because like there are some overlapping races that clash with each other. I think the penultimate DTM round clashes with the Super GT finale if it really takes place in the first weekend in November.
Mm-hmm.
But then again, it's what we were saying before. It's looking at the calendars now. It's just looking into a very muddy crystal ball.
Yeah. It's hard to predict. You have to give them a couple of weeks before they can hopefully announce an adjusted schedule. And even then, it's all tied to how the whole situation worldwide develops. And I don't know if you mentioned it, but like even with the international rounds, like you have Le Mans in September, so you don't want to race at the same weekend as Le Mans, obviously, because you have some drivers from your championship racing in Le Mans. So this is a problem, and that's what makes it so tough, because you have so many international drivers these days in Super GT as well. You have some of the Japanese drivers coming over as well.
You have basically World Endurance, you have Formula E, some of the drivers, you have to take into account all the Super Taikyu and Super Formula, and it's just tough to nail every championship so that they don't clash. So at that point, it becomes a game of musical chess in a way.
Oh yeah, definitely.
It's not going to be easy. I definitely can tell you, I don't envy any of the people who are going to be working on the calendars. Calendars which are probably going to be released, and they are probably going to have to be changed again in the future. So it's tough job, to be honest.
Yeah, definitely. And another thing is, this is something Mr. Bando was talking about a couple of times in the past, but he wants to burden the weight on the mechanics, on the engineers of the teams, because, as I said, many are like working double duty. They're working in Super Formula and Super Taikyu, in Super GT, so they have months. Like the month of May is insane. You have back-to-back races in all three championships, and there is like no breathing room for them. And I don't know if they can avoid it with the schedule changes now, but this could be a problem as well.
Uh-huh. Lo que decía Geinou es que, bueno, indudablemente, también como decía Alex, no me quiero poner en los zapatos de la gente que está tratando de rearmar los calendarios, y lo que decía un poco también sobre la situación en general del automovilismo japonés, y esto si puede ser posible otra vez la Dream Race como el año pasado, que se hizo en Fuji. No parece que fuera a ser posible este año, pero bueno, quizás en el futuro sí, aunque yo al igual que él, lo veo muy complicado por un tema de costos instalados, fundamentalmente desde Alemania a Japón, o viceversa si se llegara a llevar a cabo en el caso de que se pudiera llevar a cabo, ¿no? Como decía antes también, las limitaciones de los viajes. Vamos a ver cómo se puede incluso terminar la temporada, ¿no es cierto? A ver, chicos, guys, we are reaching the 2-hour live broadcast. So, do you want to speak more, or this is or you want to finish?
Well, I mean, if it's about one thing, I think we could be staying here for a few hours.
We could easily turn this from a 300 kilometers race into a 500 mile race. Yeah, that's pretty much a race distance.
We're getting close to that.
We're getting close to that, yeah.
1 hour and 43 minutes, 5:53 minutes, casi 2 horas le decimos a la gente que estamos en directo en este momento. La verdad que estoy disfrutando muchísimo la charla y los escucharía 5 horas más. I'm enjoying this chat and I will listen both of you for 5 more hours. It's very interesting the concepts Alex and Geinou has for us, and we are learning so much about the Super GT and Super Formula races. We have no races now because of the coronavirus, but in the near future, hope to be back at 2 a.m. in Argentina to follow Sasha Fenestra debut in GT500 and in Super Formula. This year, double debut. It's quite hard, but we need to wait right now.
Yeah, it's what we've been saying. It's a difficult situation for everyone, not only in Japan, of course. And in fact, I think Japan may have potentially a let's say, better situation than other series just by virtue of not needing so much to leave the country to race. If you look at DTM or if you look at all the championships, they may find themselves unable to race normally because they have too many rounds outside of let's say, their main country. Or in the United States, it may be difficult, for example, for ISA to race just because the situation it's too out of control for them. Japan, I feel, if things are kept in check, we could see racing, or we should see racing at some point. I definitely look forward to seeing some racing. It's difficult to imagine Japan being the savior of motorsport, keeping us from going crazy from not seeing any races. But if it comes to that, then of course we have. I feel in a way we have a responsibility as people who've been reporting on this for a number of years, to explain what is going on there, because it's not like seeing the usual Class 1 DTM races. This is something else. It comes with its own rules, with its own ways, with its own, particularities. So it's a good chance as well. If they do it well, it's a chance of people discovering something that they didn't know before. So I'm sure that as everyone in the world, we have to turn any difficult situation in a positive one. Maybe you have a challenge, and then you turn this challenge into something you can take an advantage of. So I'm sure they will do that in Japan, for sure. If they can race, they will race. If they can't, then they won't. And that's what we have to assume from our position, which is things are being worked on. I have no doubt of that. But at the end of the day, it's outside of both our control as journalists, of course, or as fans, and out of their control as well. Because at the end of the day, it all depends on how the governments and the people even are doing the job of staying at home, for example, and how things are being resolved. So if that works, of course, we're going to see things happening. But that's the first thing that needs to come. And until that isn't, let's say, solved or taking in the good direction, there's nothing really much we can do other than adapt calendars and reschedule things and prepare for the worst and hope for the best, as they say.
That's very well said. Prepare for the worst and prepare for the worst and hope for the best. That's very well said. Yeah, I mean, right now in Japan, as I said in the beginning, the Tokyo authorities asked people to stay at home last weekend, and from the looks of it, many did. This morning, there were the unfortunate news that Ken Shimura died. He was in case you don't know, he was very famous and one of the biggest comedians in the country. So that was the first major celebrity death in Japan, and it's kind of like a Tom Hanks moment they had in the US when Tom Hanks came out on Twitter and said, "Hey, I got tested positive," and this was a shocking news. This was breaking news all over the channels. The only other news that over-trumped this was the news that hey, we have a new date for the Olympics next year. But I think this might lead to some people taking this very serious now. That may be the silver lining on from this unfortunate death But yeah, I think both GTA, JRP, and the Super Taikyu organization and all the race organizations and the tracks, they will work together with the government and with the authorities and work with them and their recommendations. So if they're saying, hey, you should probably postpone sporting events, they will do that, because there was like the K1 martial arts Grand Prix at Tokyo, I think 2 weeks ago, and like with all sporting events in Japan right now, they are either delayed or they're held without spectators, but they have a packed house, and they didn't care. And they got a lot of flack for that from the Japanese users on Twitter, and I think people definitely want to avoid that, and it's for everyone involved worldwide. Is everyone can help to help us get through this by supporting other people who are perhaps infected or who are cannot buy groceries by themselves. Everyone can help, and especially you can help by staying at home and trying to stay positive and to help contain this virus. And as you said, Alex, it's our responsibility. When we're ready to race, we will be there. We will be reporting about it, and we will try to make the best of it. And I think Masaki Bando also said it great. He said that they are working hard to, once they can go racing, to give us the dreams and excitement that Super GT is doing and is generating, and hopefully give us that in the near future.
And I have no doubt that all these things are still there. I mean, they are not going anywhere. They're just
of course not.
Stopping for a while. And I think that's the most important thing that we have to take from this is that things are just stopped for a while. We put them in the freezer, and we'll take them back when they're ready. So that's how we have to see it. That's how we have to work about it. And as you said, and I like that, when it's time for racing, we'll all be ready. Drivers will be ready. We will be ready. Cars will be ready. Tracks will be ready. And of course, the fans will be more than ready to welcome racing back. So in the meantime, we have to do our best. We have to, important advice, we have to help each other. We have to try and stay at home, I would say as much as possible, but I prefer to say completely, if possible. And yeah, basically make use of anything that you can make use that you don't need to go out and buy. If you can buy groceries online, buy groceries online. If you can stay at home as much as possible. If you have a window, open your window and enjoy the air from the window. You don't need to go outside to enjoy fresh air as well. So be responsible, and this is how we get racing back. By staying at home, ironically, is how we get more chances of having our precious motorsport back. So in that we are together, and that's how we have to go about it.
Yeah, and in the meantime, if you really miss racing, watch some classic races. There are some, as we talked about, there's some great Super GT footage out there. There's some great Super Formula footage out there. Or if you're interested, watch sim racing. A lot of your favorite drivers are doing sim racing right now. There are some great organized events, be it from the race, be it from the esports teams, be it from Formula 1, NASCAR, IndyCar. They're all doing some great stuff, and there is some fun racing. And it's actually quite fun and interesting to see the drivers sitting in their simulators at home and streaming themselves playing those racing simulations. That's a lot of fun.
I think it's humanizing because we get to see like a hidden side of the drivers. We get to see them acting a little bit more like themselves. So in that, I have to say we are lucky. We have been treated to a very unusual opportunity. So let's make the most out of it as well. I'm enjoying that. I have to say it's nice to see the drivers being a bit cheekier than usual with how they speak, with how they drive. So it's a nice thing. And as you say, we are lucky as well that everyone has been wanting to pull their weight, and we have lots of classic races available for us to enjoy. And I cannot think of any better preparation for 2020 season of Super GT than watching the greatest races of the past decade, which we have been way too many. So definitely go and watch them, because you have plenty of races to check. You have plenty of good literature to read about it, and yeah, that's pretty much it. I think we have a lot of ways to pass our time with motorsport in the meantime, and especially with SuperGT. People don't know so much about how many things have been done to promote the sport in this time, but there's been a lot of movement. So it's great. We have the chance to enjoy that.
Definitely. Hashtag stay positive.
Stay at home.
Stay at home, stay positive, stay healthy, watch the classic content, follow the drivers with their streaming activities. Like from the current GT500 drivers, we have like Jan Mardenborough streaming from his flat with Nick Cassidy, live from Tokyo, like iRacing and whatnot, and all the other stuff they're competing in. You have Sasha Fenestras obviously streaming. We even have the Japanese driver streaming, like Kazuya Oshima. He was streaming recently, and he also had like an event where he, Kenta Yamashita, Tomo Miyata, and Kamui Kobayashi were competing against some GT Sports Pro esports drivers, which was pretty fun, especially because Alex, you mentioned it with the more humanizing effect we can see from the drivers now, or more humanizing side, I'm sorry, from the drivers is, I don't know at whose home they were staying to do this event, but everyone was like wearing long sleeves, you know, like jeans and everything. And it was Kamui Kobayashi with a t-shirt and shorts and eating pizza on stream. That was tons of fun.
I have way too many crazy stories about Kamui Kobayashi, which gives me a little bit of the image that he's a bit of a rascal in Japan, but we love him for that, and that's why we like to see all these things.
Definitely, he was sitting in the pits preparing for the Suzuka 10 hours, and he was looking at I think it was an iPad or something, some tablet, and people were like, "Oh man, you're studying like the data, you know, telemetry and everything." No, he was playing a video game.
and that's how you go with it. Yeah.
And even in the when something got delayed, he went back into his room with some other drivers. They played like Super Nintendo Mini and something like that. And it's great seeing that. I think social media now gives us this opportunity to connect with the drivers and see like, hey, they're like just like you and me, and that's great.
Absolutely, more than we think sometimes as well.
Yes, definitely.
Ahí lo que estábamos hablando, salió un ratito de la conversación que estaban hablando Alex y Geinou sobre, bueno, cómo se puede llevar esto adelante y que los pilotos están compitiendo en distintas carreras de simulador, un poco para pasar el rato también, y que bueno, esto hay que aguantar, mantenerse positivo y que bueno, volveremos con las carreras y hablar de lo que pasa en pista. Mientras tanto, disfrutar de los carreras de simuladores, a que le guste, pues también hay periodistas acá en Argentina que dijeron, no me gusta, bueno, yo no las miro, o no suelo mirarlas, pero no es algo que yo vaya a criticar de quién le gusta esto. Y también es interesante ver a los pilotos experimentados competir con sim racers. Eso me parece bastante interesante, y sobre todo después en los chats de los pilotos se arman cosas muy, muy interesantes. Así que bueno, creo que esto puede ser todo, salvo que no sé si Alex, como dije antes, si quería agregar algo más. La verdad disfruté muchísimo de la charla, estas 2 horas y casi 10 minutos que llevamos al aire.
Sí, no, un poco la conclusión es lo que decíamos, ¿no? Nos quedan aún semanas y meses complicados, pero si no tenemos las armas, vamos a decir, para pasar unas semanas buenas. Podemos tener pues mucho contenido, lo estamos comentando ahora, mucho contenido online, tenemos a los pilotos, tenemos carreras clásicas del SuperGT en YouTube también, por tanto recomendamos sin duda que las sigan. Están ahí en el canal de Nismo TV, por ejemplo, o el ex canal de Nismo TV, ese canal de The Race, en el que podemos ver carreras fantásticas. Yo no puedo evitar recomendar a todos los que nos escuchan que miren carreras de Sugo. Soy un gran enamorado de Sugo. Es verdad que es el circuito al que fui en 2018 y por tanto también lo siento un poco más cercano, pero es que las carreras del SuperGT en Sugo suelen tener bastantes sorpresas y por tanto, bueno, pues tenemos la manera de pasar ese tiempo y como lo decía ahora en inglés, no se me ocurre mejor manera de prepararse para este 2020, para la temporada 2020, que siguiendo todo lo que se ha hecho en temporadas recientes, ver las mejores carreras de los últimos años, leer unos cuantos buenos artículos, pues como los de RJ Connell, los buenos artículos sobre Calsonic, sobre Cent, esos artículos históricos que van a salir próximamente, seguir un poco cómo está evolucionando la situación. Por lo tanto, tiempo tenemos, pero actividades también vamos a tener. Por lo tanto, lo que sí que invito a todo el mundo, pues es a eso, a que no se vengan abajo, que sigan peleando desde sus casas, que sigan con ganas de ver carreras, porque esto, antes que nos demos cuenta, estaremos de nuevo sentados en nuestros sitios habituales y disfrutando de nuevo con las carreras.
What about you, Jens? What is the final message to this broadcast? Almost 2 hours and 10 minutes. I have enjoyed so much the chat. This will be repeat, of course, in days to come.
Yeah, I enjoyed it very, very much. Thank you for the invitation. It's always great talking about SuperGT and Japanese motorsport in general. It's such wonderful, and it's fun sharing the passion with others. My final message is what I said earlier. Everyone who's listening, thank you for listening, and stay positive, stay healthy, stay at home, and soon we all will get back our racing, our beloved racing. Take care.
Okay, thank you for both. And both, can you speak in Japanese to finish this podcast? Can
you want us to say in Japanese? Sure.
Yes.
So, I don't know. What do you want? You want us to say?
Una despedida, digamos.
I would say the most important, and I think Jens is going to agree with me, is a very important, I would say, advice, which is kiyotsukete kudasai. Take care of yourself. Be careful out there.
Geinou, can you make this word in Japanese or in English is fine?
I can say in Japanese, 皆様、聞いてありがとうございました。皆様、気をつけてください。
You both, I will ask you for teach Japanese in the future. Gracias a los dos. Thank you very much for both of you for make this podcast possible. I'm very happy to make some different things in Argentinian media, so this was amazing. Qué raro que lo diga yo, pero a mí me gustó mucho hacerlo y seguramente se va a repetir. Thank you very much, Geinou, Jens, for this. We make another for sure in days to come. Y Alex, por supuesto, muchas gracias a vos por estar en línea con nosotros.
Muchas gracias a todos, chicos.
Arigatou gozaimashita.
Arigatou gozaimashita.
Muchas gracias a todos los que nos siguieron en español, en inglés, en japonés, a todos. Muchas gracias. Nos vamos a encontrar con emisiones especiales en los próximos días. Ya les vamos a estar contando.